when could we potentially expect a mainnet launch?
I can't give you specific timing yet. We'll see some more about that in November, but we are not far away now.
What's up, Cardano gang? Welcome into Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. My name's Fareed. As a part of today's video, we're diving into Everything Midnight, a data privacy focused blockchain, which is releasing one of the biggest airdrops dubbed the Glacier drop. Now we've seen one of 3 phases already completed. That was the initial claim phase, and a snapshot was taken back. I want to say it was around mid-June or around that summertime. Now we've just entered one of the biggest phases, which is the Scavenger mine. And for anybody who didn't participate within the first phase, this is your opportunity to essentially solve some cryptographic puzzles with little to no work on your end, right? As long as you've got the computer capabilities in order to earn some of the Knight token, one of the 2 tokens here as a part of the dual token model for this particular blockchain. Now, today, we're going to be getting a little bit technical. I'm going to be sitting down with a gentleman named Bob. He's going to be representing the Shielded company, which is essentially the builders of Midnight. So this is essentially the equivalent of IOG, who's developed Cardano. And without any further ado, let me bring him up. We have Mr. Bob Blessing Hartley. Welcome in, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm happy to be here. Looking
Thank you
forward
for
to talking about Scavenger mine.
Yes, it's been quite the buzz here. I'm on X, and I'm sure you are too. And it seems like every other post has been about Midnight. Now, before we dive into the juicy details, the airdrop, the Scavenger mine, I believe it's your first time here on the channel. Would love to hear a little bit about your background, what exactly you do for Shielded, and how you've come to this particular point.
Sure. So I have been at Shielded/IO, all that kind of fun stuff for about just coming up on a year and a half now. I joined last summer as the head of architecture for Midnight, back when we were still fully integrated into IO, and worked with everybody who's now at Shielded and the Midnight Foundation collectively to push forward the Midnight Network platform. One of the projects I worked on during that time was obviously Glacier drop. We'll talk more about that in a minute. My background goes back in the Web3 space back to 2015, where I was at IBM, and I was the IBM Systems CTO for blockchain. I launched the first, I'm afraid to say it out loud, permission blockchain as a service back in 2016, the IBM blockchain platform. But we also had a lot of things going on in the overall Web3 space with digital asset platforms, integration with things like Stellar, et cetera. So that's kind of where I got my Web3 and blockchain chops. I spent some time at a node as a service company for 3 years doing solution architecture as well. And prior to that, I did a lot of work in business integration and automation and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I came from.
Thank you. And nice and concise. I'll leave the link to the official shielded.io website down below as a part of the video description. Now, I released a video not too long ago, and it was breaking down the Knight white paper, which basically had everything from A to Z, right? Talking about the dual token model, talking about the distribution, but it also highlighted the Glacier drop. So for anyone who's hearing about the Glacier drop for the very first time, do you mind giving us a high-level overview of the 3 phases and exactly where we are?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Glacier drop is an extremely comprehensive multi-ecosystem token distribution mechanism that, as you mentioned, is divided into 3 phases. One of those phases has completed as of October. That was the Glacier drop claim phase. That was the first phase. And that's where we gave an allocation of Knight tokens to anybody from 8 crypto ecosystems, an allocation of Knight based on holding at least $100 of that particular currency. So if you had $100 of ADA, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., there were 8 of those. You can read about all of them in the paper, but suffice it to say, if you held some of that currency, you could come to the Glacier drop claim portal, prove that you were the owner of a particular address, by signing a transaction, or signing a message, actually. Sign a message and say, hey, I own this address, prove that, and then that would submit your claim into our claim system. And that's what closed out in mid-October. and we actually ran Hydra for a couple of days in what I believe is the first truly commercial application of Hydra, where we processed the many claims that came into that environment. So there was a huge distribution over just about 15% of the total supply of night was claimed during that period. So that was really an exciting period. So that started in August, just around Rare Evo, and finished up. The second phase is what has just started this week, and that's called the Scavenger mine. And this goes beyond the 8 crypto ecosystems and really opens it up to anybody in the world who wants to claim some night, get some night for a little bit of work. So we have a portal running now where, and thank you for pulling that up, where you can go in and register a clean, this is important, a clean Cardano address, and do some work with your browser. It's a single threaded cryptographic puzzle that it's solving in there. And for every puzzle you solve, there's one every hour, you will get a portion of night based on the total contributions of the entire ecosystem. So you can see, for example, here that Fareed was able to complete 21 of the 24 solutions on day 1, and it will receive at the end of the program, when we reconcile all this out, just about 75 night. That's a pretty good return for not doing a heck of a lot with your browser. Running that single thread in your background or your browser doesn't take a lot of processor. You're working through that today. It really doesn't make much of a hiccup. This is really exciting because literally anybody, you could email this link to your grandmother and explain to her how to set up a wallet, a Lace wallet or something like that, and start claiming night. Really low effort, which is great. So every day over the next now 20 days, there will be 24 puzzles per day. So you haven't missed out on anything other than the first day's allocation of night. There's an equal allocation every day of night tokens. Roughly, I think it's off the top of my head, it's about 30 million night per day that's up for grabs. And just come and click that start mining button, and you'll get your night at the end of the program. Yeah, the third phase, just to give you a little forward looking, is intended for those people who missed out on the claim phase. There are some people who, because we had such a broad reach out into not just the Cardano ecosystem, but 7 other ecosystems, some people might have said, I don't really want to go bother with claiming my night in that process. We'll see what happens. So next year, when they see that night's trading at $1, $1.50 or whatever, they may have some regrets and say, oh boy, I really wish I had gone and claimed that. And so there is a third phase we're calling Lost and Found. It will roll out throughout next year, dates to be determined exactly, where you'll come in and prove that you own one of those things that didn't get claimed. Kind of reminds me of the story of that guy who spent I don't know how many millions of dollars digging in the dump looking for his hard drives. We're making it a little easier. You can come and just say, oh, hey, sorry, I really did want some of that night. Here's my key, and you'll be able to claim some of the night that was associated with your original allocation. So those are the 3 phases of it.
Thank you, Bob. Again, I'll leave the links to everything that you've discussed in my prior content highlighting those 3 phases. Now, you're here to discuss the scavenger phase, which again has gotten a lot of attention as it stands. Earlier, I actually saw a post that you guys were a little bit overloaded. So, I mean, if it's okay, could you maybe share how many browsers or people or just wallets you guys have seen participating as a part of the airdrop? And I have a follow-up about what exactly we're doing in solving these cryptographic puzzles.
Sure. So we have over 1 million addresses registered to date, and more coming in. I can't speak right now to the active mining that's going on or active scavenging that's going on with them. I don't have those stats off the top of my head, but we have over 1 million unique addresses from all over the world. So we see on our on our web server. Things are coming in from Europe, Asia, US, pretty much everywhere that's legally allowed to get into it. And it's grown significantly. If I can talk a little bit about the program, and we did have a hiccup at the beginning. It's actually because we were somewhat astounded by how many people really wanted to take part in this. And it really ties into the fundamental security of this particular solution. This puzzle solution was designed by us to be something that would not give an advantage or a significant advantage to a miner over somebody running in a browser. If you look at something like the RandomX protocol, there's a very significant advantage to running something on a command line solving these problems versus running in a browser. I could go into technical detail if you cared about it. It really simply, the browser WASM implementation of RandomX doesn't do floating point math well. It emulates it. So we made a very customized version of that called Ashmaze, and it is in a public repository at IOHK's GitHub. So you can look into the algorithm itself that reduces that disconnect between browser and command line to somewhere on the order of 5 or 10x as opposed to 200 or 300x. Why? Because we really wanted to give everybody a chance who wanted to get some night to be able to get some night. And as you can see, you're getting 75 night. I did all 24 puzzles yesterday, so I'm getting slightly more. I'm getting 89.945 night allocated to me. That's not insignificant, which is really exciting. So that was really the impetus behind creating this custom algorithm for the Scavenger program. I'm really excited because we started this back in January, and when Charles introduced the concept to me, he said, "Hey Bob, I'd love to do this." I went off and I actually wrote my first serious code in quite a long time. I've been in leadership for a long time, and the program itself was so exciting to me. I sat down and I wrote the original prototype for it, just to prove that we could do it. That was pretty cool. And the other thing that's really exciting about this is it really shows the relationship of the Midnight Foundation, of Shielded Technologies, of IOG, IOE, all working together to come together to a common purpose. Because we had literally people working from all of those different organizations. And actually right now, I came off of a call where we had a team. We're at the next phase. We're at the end of the first day. That's where all the night allocations were coming out. We wanted to make sure that showed up in your browser before this call, so you could show that, just to say, hey. And so, it came off without a hitch. That first night, again, because we had so many people, we were hashing and we were creating a Merkle tree of all the registrations and actually hashing that Merkle tree to use as the seed, as the input to that first puzzle. And because we had so many, it took a little bit longer than we expected it to. So
that's an amazing problem to have, and I can see the joy on your face, with you talking about what you've done. And I think you guys should all give yourselves a big pat on the back. What you guys are doing here is revolutionary. I spoke with Fahmi, the president of the foundation. I also spoke with Oran Barak, I believe CEO of Shielded. And the first part, I know there was some slight hiccups there with hardware wallets, but I think that's what comes with the territory, especially with doing something that is not just, Cardano or UTXO focused, right? You guys involved 8 ecosystems. And similarly, as long as somebody can come in here, like you said, create a simple wallet. I mean, it took me about, I would say, less than 2 minutes to get connected and to start mining. It is really a fair and an open field for anybody to participate. And so again, I think this has been a huge undertaking, and this seems to be going very well, for day number 1, and to be able to see how quickly you guys have been able to kind of adapt to the circumstances with so much demand is obviously a very positive thing. Now I have to ask, because again, we are anticipating the mainnet launch of Midnight, and I read through the white paper where there's talks about sort of a federated mainnet launch, right, where there'll be sort of a subset of curated validators before you guys onboard the rest of the Cardano SPOs, sort of in a decentralized manner. And so my question to you is that, there is the ability for us to export a JSON file, right, from the Scavenger mine. Now, diving into that JSON file, let me actually break that down here. It's formatted and there's quite a bit of information here. So my next question to you, Bob, if you can share a little bit more details, is this actually generating transactions and on-chain activity, right, for midnight in anticipation of the mainnet release?
It's not actually generating transactions on midnight yet because the mainnet is not yet live. We are looking at ways in which we can use the output of this, similar to how the puzzles themselves are being created as entropy. How the output of these challenge solutions might be assisting us to in the future as we launch midnight to add entropy, add randomness, etc. into the overall solution. We're also looking as midnight evolves and becomes a true cross-chain platform as well, how that this technology that we've implemented here for the Glacier Drop Scavenge program could be used, for example, for proof of useful work consensus, cross-chain applications and things like that. So we're using it as a research function. We're using it as a way to really distribute as wide as possible the Night token to the world. Those are the two primary functions that we have right now for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, I think you guys are on the cusp because even looking around, right, Vitalik Buterin was posting about ZK proofs and the ability to kind of interact on blockchain with a sense of privacy, which is exactly what Midnight does. We've also seen Coinbase, right, talking about privacy, talking about AI. And so it seems like you guys are almost 2 steps ahead because I remember Charles introducing Iran and even introducing the concept of midnight back at the Cardano Summit in 2023. And so it seems like everybody's finally coming around and you guys are already ready to go. So I'm extremely excited. And again, happy to be chatting with you about all this groundbreaking work. Now, I realize that tokens can definitely be a sensitive topic. So I understand if you're not able to maybe dive a little bit deeper into this topic, but we did see recently the minting of the actual Night token on the Cardano mainnet, right? So we've seen the 24 billion tokens minted. Can you share anything about, that process? What can the community expect next? If I'm not mistaken, the token should be distributed after the conclusion of the Scavenger mine. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate. So the general approach is so step back. The minting of the Night is a Cardano native asset to start with, and it will have a literally one-to-one mapping of Night on the Midnight network. That's part of what makes us a partner chain of Cardano. So that was minted onto the Cardano chain this month in preparation for the final scavenging phase. Once that is done, we will go through a reconciliation process where we look at all of the claims, all of the scavenger claims, and then create a series of redemption smart contracts on the Cardano blockchain that will allow you to then come and, after the token officially launches, announcements will be made around the specific timing of that. But after the token officially launches, you will then be able to come in over a period of time and redeem the Night. Remember, the reason this is called a Glacier Drop is because it's not day one, there's your Night token. It's some of your Night will thaw. That's why it's a glacier. Days 91 through 180, some more will thaw throughout the year. As that thaws, you will be able to do things with it. Like you will be able to generate dust. That's the secondary resource that's part of the Midnight ecosystem. That's the fee paying mechanism for transacting on the Midnight blockchain, and that's quite unique as well. And I'm sure you've heard a lot about how that works, but it's something that's truly novel and exciting. In my opinion, probably bears worth repeating in the sense that in order to transact on Midnight when the mainnet launches, you don't have to burn your Night token. Unlike Ethereum, Bitcoin, every other blockchain, you end up reducing your supply of the primary token in order to transact. That's not the case on Midnight. We have this secondary resource that's generated by the Night token called dust. It generates and decays over time. It also, when you transact, it reduces your total amount of dust in your wallet. It is. Thank you. It's not a value store, so it's not a true token in that sense. It is a true utility function of the Night token itself.
Thank you. So as we get ready to wind things down, first off, again, thank you for making the time here, Bob. Would love to turn it over to you to maybe highlight anything that I didn't ask about or that you're excited about or that's just important for the community to know when it comes to getting involved with this entire scavenger mine.
Getting involved with the scavenger mine, the thing that's most exciting to me is literally how easy it is. You can go to midnight.gd, Glacier Drop, and find links to it. Or if you want to go straight there, you can go sm.midnight.gd. That's scavenger mine. And it is, as you said, a matter, you install your wallet and it's a matter of 20, 30 seconds to sign a transaction, actually sign a message, I should say. That's the terms and conditions you're accepting. And then you're mining and just let it run. That's the thing that excites me most. I'm also really excited that, and I was explaining this to my team earlier this week, when Glacier Drop closed, just before Scavenger Mine kicked off, what we did is we took that tiny little pebble at the top of the hill and went click, pushed it over the edge of the hill. And it is now rolling downhill, gathering speed as we get ready for launch. And so this is the next phase. And it's I'm so happy to see so much interest, so much activity. I'm so happy to see that, all the preparations we took in terms of ensuring it didn't fall over. We thought we sized it pretty big, and the world pushed it to its limits, and we kept it going. And we actually did a live update, so seamless. Nobody noticed we made an update today that actually improved the performance as well. So that's exciting. The next phases are exciting. Getting the token launched. There's the Midnight Summit coming in November. There's just so much happening now, and I joined Midnight because I am a true fanatic around privacy, but I'm also a true fanatic around blockchain. I believe that those two things together are immensely powerful capabilities that the world desperately needs as part of the core infrastructure. So that's what excites me most, is that we are on the cusp of getting out there.
Thank you, Bob. And I mean, you're talking about the cusp, so I feel like I have to ask you before I let you go. When could we potentially expect a mainnet launch?
I can't give you specific timing yet. That we'll see some more about that in November, but we are not far away now. So
that is amazing to hear.
I'll leave that to the foundation to discuss during the Midnight Summit in mid-November.
That is amazing to hear. I look forward to seeing you out there and getting to collaborate and to make even more content. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it here. I've got Mr. Bob Blessing Hartley joining me to break down everything going on with the official Midnight Scavenger Mine, also known as Phase 2 of the first ever Glacier drop, the biggest airdrop here that we've seen for the up and coming data privacy focused blockchain. Of course, if you guys have enjoyed this type of content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up here on the way out. It is by far one of the easiest ways to show your support for the channel. If you want more content just like this and you appreciate this, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, or you want to learn how to join the Midnight community or participate in the scavenger mine, make sure to go ahead, leave a comment down below and review that description for all of the official links. Again, thank you all for joining me here. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Cheers.